Hello, my name is Bill. I'm going to demonstrate a technique known as adhesive transfer. This is using images from magazines or newspapers or photocopies and making a collage from these and transferring the artwork to other surfaces such as wood, card or sellotape. These are some examples of image transfer onto various surfaces. So I've got card here, I've got a piece of wood, another bit of card, just scrap card, and this is sticky back plastic and ordinary tape. The things you're going to need for image transfer are some tape. This is double-sided tape, this is electrical tape, and this is just ordinary sellotape. A floor varnish, which is water-based and quick drying. It's acrylic. A brush. Some vegetable oil just from the kitchen, a sponge with some water, another sponge to use with the oil, something to transfer your images to. So I've got some card there, it could be wood or it could be even a piece of furniture. And of course some source material which I've got from a magazine, Saturday Supplement magazine. Look for images that you can make a collage with, so looking at bright colours or contrasting tones. For myself, I have constructed a very simple collage of a fish. And the process is very simple. Simply take the sellotape, or it could be a mixture of both tapes. Lay out your design just exactly how you want it to be transferred, and stick the tape over the top. And because I'm using transparent sellotape, the end result will have a transparency to it. If I add a little bit of this white tape, then what you'll find is that it should have a white stripe that goes through the middle of it. If you use an old shop card like this, you just make sure that the tape has stuck to the collage as well as it can be. You then turn the whole thing over now and cut it out of this piece of paper. and turn it upside down. Bring your sponge over with the water and just gently sponge the back to get it all wet. Just very gently then, just start to sort of rub away at the paper. What you should find is that as the paper sort of rolls away, it leaves behind the image that you've made. You might want to add a little bit more water, but try not to add too much because the paper can go a bit mushy. Really, you want it just to be rolling off like that. As you get nearer to the image, you start to reveal it. Just go a little bit lighter with your fingertips, just in case you rub away too much. Now, at the moment this is still wet, so just leave it for a few minutes to dry off before we go on to the next stage. When it's dry, you might find that it's a little bit cloudy, and that's just remnants of the paper pulp still on the transfer. It's also noticeably sticky still, so the whole thing needs to be sealed. Now there's two ways to do this. The best way is to use the floor varnish, the acrylic varnish. But if you haven't got that, you can simply use sellotape just to go over it again. Now what that'll do is to solve its stickiness, but the cloudiness needs to come out with a little bit of oil. You don't want to add too much oil to it because sometimes that can actually rub off the glue. Just dab it gently over the top. You should see those colours coming back a little, so sort of like a wet look. Now because oil doesn't actually dry, you will need to blot it. So just take a little bit of newspaper and just lay it face down on the newspaper just to sort of blot some of that excess oil away. When that's done, lay it out again. And use the sellotape just to go over it once more. the last thing I'm going to do with my little fish is to trim it off. And it's ready to go in the window. If you would rather transfer your artwork to something other than sticky tape, it's possible to use double-sided tape to transfer images to a variety of other things. I have here a piece of wood and some old scrap card that I've transferred these collages to. So the technique is the same as with sticky tape, and you'll need to begin by constructing a collage from a magazine or a newspaper. Lay it all out just as exactly as you want it to appear on the transfer, and this is my example. So the idea is to cover the whole of the card with double-sided tape, and to do that I'm just going to arrange the tape in rows, and I'm going to try and get it as close together as I possibly can. So really try and line it up, if not just slightly overlap it so that it covers the entire piece of card. When you've done that, just turn it over and trim some of the edges off first. You're now ready to start peeling off the backing to the double-sided tape. Now move this aside a moment and just make sure that your collage is all in place. Very carefully hover the card over the top, try and get it in the middle and press it on. You can turn it over now and press it from this side. If we take the water then, and just as we did previously, wet the back, let the water soak into the paper, and just very gently start to peel away the layers. Add more water when you think it needs it, but you don't need to swamp it with water. It's actually better to have it just slightly damp so that the paper just comes off in rolls like that. And you can start to see it coming through now. Keep rubbing. Try not to rub too hard, because that sometimes rub the image away. Just until no more paper is on the surface there. When you think you're finished, just as before, just put it to dry and then we'll seal it. When it's dried, you'll still need to seal it. This time I'm going to use the varnish. You can see that it's still tacky and that there are some areas that are still cloudy as well. So just cover it over. Just allow it to dry then for 20 minutes from the varnish.